name is Rick Passek, the FlyFish Fanatic, and welcome to my tying bench. Today we'll be tying a kind of like a pheasant tail nymph, but it's going to be an all black with a little bit of red highlights. So it's similar to a pheasant tail nymph, but not. It's something I've been using for quite a few years. Sometimes works really, really well. Sometimes not so much. But it all depends on what the fish are targeting. But like I said, I've found some days this can be an absolutely deadly pattern. So it's I always have one, at least some in my box. So this is what we will be tying there. So that's what we'll be tying today. So it's a basically, like I said, it's similar to a pheasant tail, but it is different. So alrighty, so that's what we'll be tying. So I will be using, where did I put my hook? Okay. Hook-Hends BL700 in a size 10 is going to be my hook. I'll be using some Semperfli 12-aught Nanosilk for the thread. I'm going to put a little bit of underbody weight on, not much. I'm just going to use a little bit of Semperfli wire, 0.1 mil, just for the underbody. I'm going to be using some intruder spay hackle, they call it, but it's basically just black dyed Peacock Hurl. And for the thorax area, I'm going to be using a piece of black Ostrich. And for the tail, I'll also be using this, and for the legs, I'll be using this. And for the wing case, I'll be using some Semperfli Holo Tinsel in red. Just a little piece. It's just it, and I'll be using red wire for the ribbing in the back section, the main body. Also, Semperfli wire, 0.2 mil. Okay, so I'm going to start off just with my wire here, and I've got it on a bobbin. Like I said, just up here in the front here. You could use flat lead or round lead or whatever you wanted to here. But I just it just works nice. I don't want to use, I personally don't like too much weight on these, so I just tie on a little bit. More than anything, I want it to help with making the shape of the body. So I just want a thicker thorax here. So that's about it. I don't even need to whip finish or anything. Just nip that off. And take my black Nanosilk. Oh, and drop my wax, of course, which I absolutely need here because I don't want this to slip off. So sorry about that, guys. So I just get a little bit of wax on my Nanosilk, and then I'm going to just apply that onto my hook here. So I just want to go over this this bulk section here that I bulked up with the wire just a little bit, just to make sure that's tied down. And I'm actually going to turn on this other light here. It might help a bit for you, but definitely helps for me because I can't see nothing without it. So then I'm going to come back roughly to where I stopped with my wire. And I'm just going to get 4 or 5 little barbules of that, like I said, that black dyed Peacock Hurl. 3, 4, 5, whatever. It doesn't really matter exactly. Fish can't count. I mean, 3 to 4 would be nice. 4 or 5 is fine. So I'm just going to lay it in there. Got that little kind of a ragged piece there. Just going to lay it in there. Just do a couple of loose wraps. Make sure it's sitting on top. And then I'm going to pull it to the length I want. I don't want it very long. It's actually a little long still. Yeah, there you go. Now I'm just going to, in open wraps, just kind of go back just before the curve of the hook. And then I'm going to go under it all and kind of pull towards the eye of the hook. And you see how that's kind of flaring that tail out? That's what I want. Okay, this stuff here just nips off. What doesn't nip off, just tie it down. It's going to be underneath here anyway, so not a biggie. Then I'm going to take a little bit of my red wire. I like having the red, like I said, this is the red wire and the red flash for the wing case is just more of an attractor. It's just a little bling. It's not a lot of bling, but it is a little bit. So there. Now I'm going to go into my dyed. There you go. Peacock Hurl. I'm just going to take a good handful of this stuff out of the bag so I can get to it. I'm just going to grab 2 to 3 decent looking pieces. Wouldn't mind 3 just to get a little bit, even 4, depending on how thick of a Hurl you got. Now you can do this with regular Peacock Hurl too. It doesn't have to be black, but I like the black effect that this one has. You can do it with regular Peacock Hurl and still use the red, but like I said, this black just really does it. So now I just like stroking this down a bit so it opens up all the little barbules, and then in touching wraps, trying to keep them all together. Touching wraps, a little thinner at the back, and then you can actually almost overlap on the front here a little bit. Go back over it once, and then just tie that off. A couple of times behind, a couple of times in front. Nip that nice and close. Save that because there's enough there for a second one. Now I'm going to counter wrap my red wire, have one right near the back, and then open it up and counter wrap. I like having 4 to 5 in there. Usually 4, and then the 5th one I tie off on, just like this. So there's my, it's locked in. Let's give that a good grab. Helicopter that off. Just keep those tail fibers. See how they're kind of separated like that? That's kind of what you want. So now, and that just a little bit of red, that little bit of red flashing through there, right? So now the first thing that goes in, cut it off, here we go, is a piece of the red Holo tinsel. So I'm going to just kind of tie it in on my side, and as I pull, it'll kind of wrap up, and if it doesn't, I can get it right to the top. So just so you guys can see, I want it right on the top here. So I'm just going to manipulate that a little bit, make sure that's tied right in the top. Tie that in, and then come back right to that tie-in point. And I'm going to take one piece of Ostrich. It's going to nip off the butt section here. And again, I'm going to tie that in right to the tie-in point. Okay. Then what I like doing is taking some more of these, and this can be a little bit finicky with this stuff. When I'm tying my regular ones, it's not as bad because you can find nice barbules in a pheasant tail. But what I do here is I try to get 6 tips is what I want of this stuff, of the dyed Peacock Hurl. I want 6 of them. Sometimes, well, if you only get 5, you only get 5. Not a big deal. I'd like to get 6, and I'd like to get 6 with that narrow tip. So now what I'll do is I'll line up, like right here, you can see that all the tips are not lined up. So now what I'm going to do is just going to line up all these tips. If there's one that's sticking out long, I'll just pull it out and bring it back. And put it into a little bit of a bundle. So that's kind of lined up. That's not too bad. So then I'm just going to lay that in forward. I'm going to come back to the eye. I'm going to lay that in forward loose wrap. And then I'm going to take all of that not. Gotta watch out that you don't take the ostrich. And you kind of just pull that back. These are going to be my legs, so that's about plenty long enough right there. So I'm just going to just tighten that up a bit. Oops. Come back again to my tie-in point for all the other materials. And again, don't want to get that ostrich in there. Now I could have cut these a little shorter before I did all this, but so now just take all of that and nip it off. Okay. Again, keep those. Then I'm going to come back forward. Okay. And I'm going to, in touching wraps, I want this touching. And if it doesn't, go back, because I want this nice and fluffy and bushy up here. 5 or 6 turns. Nip it off. So now you want to get in there and you want to separate your 3 legs per side. And then lay, so now you're going to use your thumb and forefinger and you're going to just kind of pull that back and down. And as you're doing that, you're bringing that red hollow tinsel forward. I actually like cutting this hollow tinsel shorter so I don't have this thing to deal with, but so now I'm just pulling it tight so that hollow tinsel is nice and tight on there as a wing case. I always like doing a whip finish at this point just so I don't lose things. Just a quick whip finish. Make sure that doesn't get caught in there. There we go. Then I will cut off my hollow tinsel and I will do another quick whip finish here. 3 turns, 4 turns, something like that. I don't want a big head on these. I want a fairly small head. Okay, now you can, if you want to, so you don't have to worry about getting it on the fluff, you could put a little bit of head cement on the thread and then whip finish. It's up to you. Oh, I just cut that a little long. Just gonna get in here. There we go. Nip off that thread. Now you see that the eye's got some stuff in it there. No big deal. Take the handy dandy lighter, stroke all your materials back out of the way. Boom, just hit it and it's gone. So now I got my, this one actually broke off. I've got 2 legs on one side and 3 on the other. So, but there's your, there's your finished little nymph here. Now, sometimes if I have somewhere, I just wasn't able to find it. I do have a pheasant tail that is dyed black. I found my blue one, I found my pink one, I found my green one, I found my orange one, I found my natural, but I couldn't find my black. That's what I actually like doing the legs out of it, is and the tail is the black pheasant tail. But it's what I've got. But this little hollow tinsel flashback and that little bit of red in the thorax really just stands out with the black and the red. And black and red is such a good combo, right? So, and having that ostrich in the thorax area, really, it just fluffs out. And when this gets wet, it kind of lays back a bit. So, really nice fly. Weight them if you want. That's up to you. I don't usually weight them too much. Like I said, the little bit of weight that this little bit of wire added is very minimal. So give that one a shot. Like I said, it works really well at times. So give that a shot and see and give her a fish and see how it goes for you. So if you like my videos, please give her a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please do. If you have, thank you very much. And we'll see you in the next tying video. Tight lines, everyone.